If you had to pick one video game to bring with you on an island, what game would that be? I remember hearing this question and thinking of all the games I love and hold dear. But on an island? Just one game? After racking my brain over this stupid question for a week straight, I finally figured out an answer. There's this game called Sound Shapes. It was released back in 2012, the year the world was supposed to end. I remember watching all the trailers for the game, which showed early gameplay and the concept art behind everything. It was made by a small group of people at Queasy Games, led by Jessica Mack, someone who's known for making this game all by herself, and a musician known as I Am Robot and Proud. Long story short, you can tell the people making this game really put their heart into it. The day the game was released, I remember waiting until the very end of the day when I could sit in my room, throw my headphones on, and play without any distractions. You play as a sticky eyeball thing. Every sound you collect adds another layer to the music, and every creature or moving platform that helps or hurts you contributes to that to make every page sound a little different. As soon as I finished the first level, I realized I was in love. There are 5 albums in the game, each made by a different musician and an art style to go with it. Corporeal introduces a pixel art style with elevators and levitation beams. Everything is corporate and benign, and at first I was like, alright, this album sucks. But with each level, that corporate world comes apart little by little until it turns into a literal hell. Purgatory being my favorite level on this album. There are 3 times this game made me want to cry. It might have been the over-emotional state I was in at the time, but either way, this was the first time. I don't know if it was the 8-bit strings and pounding drum beat or this moment of dissociation you experience right after that. But the music and the imagery just got me choked up. The next 2 albums go the hardest with the electronic aesthetic. Beyonder experiments a little more with not only the soundtrack, but the gameplay as well. And Decade, made by none other than Deadmau5, takes you through flashy levels that go so hard in its difficulty and its sound, that you appreciate the silence that comes after. Cities, with music made by Beck, is probably my favorite album in the game. It's also the only album that doesn't have a consistent theme. This one only has 3 levels, but every single one packed an emotional punch for me. The first one, called Cities, places you in a post-apocalyptic city. You jump across broken buildings, avoid base missiles, and use the screams of the dead as bridges across the fires below. Antennas launch you in the air, and an alert of an incoming nuke forces you to be quick. At one point, this dish relays a message, a voice singing about dead cities. And then you reach these blocks that shapeshift with every word. One of my favorite parts of this level is the way that it uses actual words as objects in the world. And I don't know how deep this level is supposed to be, but everything in it had such an impact on me. Especially at the end, after traversing through the literal darkest part. The sky suddenly clears, and the bass that emanated from the missiles you had to previously avoid now comes from these wrecking balls. The loss and hurt that the shifting platform sang about now takes on a different context. Rebuilding this broken city, rebuilding your broken self is going to hurt, but it's okay because with every setback you can just keep pushing forward. Now, I may be adding a deeper meaning to this cartoon game that may have never intended to be there. Beck may have just lent them samples from unfinished music that they just had to use to the best of their ability. Again, in the hyper-emotional state I was in while playing the game, I probably gave meaning to a lot of meaningless things. But that's kind of what art is, right? Giving meaning to something that doesn't inherently have it. And not to take too much of a detour, but this game came out at an interesting time. Video games weren't always considered cool, and certainly not art. With commercial game releases like Journey, Unfinished Swan, and Thomas Was Alone breaking regular video game conventions, the media was finally starting to be considered as a form of art. And just like any art made by a passionate few, whether Sound Shapes was made to be deep or not, you can feel every bit of love that they put into the game. And for me, personally, at a time when the world was supposed to end, at a time when music was more of an escape from my own racing mind than ever, this game was exactly what I needed. The second to last level is called Touch the People. It's completely different from the previous level, taking place in a green world of... well, it's a trip. You spend most of it floating through these dancing sparkles and avoiding aggressive red dudes. The second time this game nearly brought me to tears was here. After every platforming detour the level takes you through, the music develops a little more. Right up until it overwhelms you with enemies and sounds. Every emotion I had seemed to build up and intensify, and after every single death I got closer and closer to breaking down, and then finally, I escaped. The level continues on a bit longer with fierce keys and subtle strings, and then it's over. I remember at the end of it I just removed my headphones and took a deep breath. The final level, Spiral Staircase, is a perfect way to end the game. It's slow and calm, and it just makes you feel good. But you should experience it yourself. I played Sound Shapes for a good while after finishing it, replaying all my favorite levels and making my own with a level creator that lets you use all the art and sounds from the game to make your own music. You could even upload them so that others could play. On top of that, every level had a leaderboard, and many would try to beat each level as quickly as they could to get to the top of it. Something you can no longer do, unfortunately. In 2018, the servers for the game shut down for good, making it impossible to use any of the game's online features. I never really cared for the leaderboards, but it's sad to see that all these amazing levels that people had made are just gone forever. And this brings up something I had feared at the game's launch. With it being download only, there might be a time in the future where it'll be nearly impossible to play this game. The only physical copy of this game exists on a compilation disc, and that in itself is hard to find. But anyway, that's an entire other topic. Sound Shapes is a game I find myself coming back to constantly. It's simple, it looks nice, it doesn't require too much of your time, and damn, I just love the music. It had such an impact on me. It's a game I'll probably keep coming back to for the rest of my life. Which is why if I could somehow bring one game to a deserted island, this would be my game. Buy the game if you can, and experience it for yourself, because there might come a time where you won't be able to. Before I end the video, I'll leave you with the third and final time this game had me choked up. Right before the server shut down, I just randomly decided to download a bunch of levels created by other people. And one of them took me by surprise. It combines elements from every single album in the game, and it's designed in such an interesting way. I think it's perfect. It's a level called The Sickness and the Cure by The Beach Abides. And since it no longer exists online, here it is in its entirety. Thanks for watching.